so interested in seeing what him and Quinn Ewers do this year. There's been so much hype.
We have a pretty dangerous running back in Blake Corum.
Maryland's gone. Talia Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
A little too backyard football.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? You know who it is. It's your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And today I'm here with my guy, yes, sir, Mr. Maize and Blue, the host of the hottest new show, Restoring the Roar, Mr. Alex Loosebone. What up, Alex?
Not too much, man. Just so excited with Combine and all the Senior Bowl, Shrine Game, all that. Like, we're into this off season, but still big time college football news every day.
Exactly. There's so much going on, from Marvin Harrison sitting there getting that new NIL deal with the mechanical quarterbacks, Merrimack. I mean, that stuff's crazy. You got the NFL Combine being televised going on right now. So it's going to be really, I mean, there's always something going on, be it transfers, be it coaches leaving or staying. I mean, it's always something. What's going on? Sydney saying, what up, guys?
Well, before we know it, it'll be spring games. Like, we're a little over a month away from that now. Like, it's going to fly.
And I love it. I love it because diving into it, last year was the first year that I really dove into college off season. And it's just so much. Once you start really peeling back that onion, it's just like, oh my goodness.
Well, it's a whole different beast. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's insane.
Absolutely. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we're glad you are here with us. We're back. We're back. Season 2 of Let's Talk College Football. I do recommend that you go back and you check out season 1. This guy, and our dear friend, Katie Alverson. I mean, we went through the college football season, Georgia winning it all, both of our teams falling short, some a little shorter than others, but, it is what
there can only be one champion, though, right? So
very true. Very true. So we are here. Hey, welcome to the NCAA off season. We have to sit here, since it's the NFL Combine, we're talking about guys leaving and going to the pros and dealing with that. We do have to touch on the breaking news. I mean, this has been front page news. It's been all the media outlets. Jalen Carter facing charges in that deadly crash that happened where 2 individuals lost their lives. Alex, there are 2 misdemeanor charges. I believe it's a reckless driving and a racing.
Yeah.
Like a street racing or drag racing, something like that. What are your thoughts, man? What do you think? Is this going to affect his draft stock? Like, what's going on?
It all depends how he fares this weekend. I mean, obviously, he's not doing any of the on-the-field stuff. He's literally just sitting for the interviews. He is going to get grilled by every single team he meets with for this. They're going to tear him apart for it. And if he sits there, bites the bullet, and says, yeah, I made a mistake, I'm learning from it, I'm growing, like, just says all the right things, and the teams realize that it's not just BS, then I think he still has the potential to go number 1. I think regardless, I don't think he slips past 10. Mm-hmm. He's still that top 10 player, because as unfortunate as it is with situations where there's criminal charges and that kind of stuff potentially in place, the guy's arguably the best defensive tackle prospect in 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
So he's gonna go top 10. It's just, and this is the time of year where any dirt on any of these draft prospects gets pulled.
Yep.
You'll find, I guarantee in the next couple of weeks, you'll see, this racist or insensitive tweet was from this player, and it's like, yeah, but the player was like 10. Like, it'll just everything gets pulled on all these players.
Absolutely. Jason Loosemore saying won't affect his stock one bit. And I think the fact that he went in to the police force, to the jail, we actually sat in the jail, I think, for like 15 minutes and then was released. He complied. He did everything that he was supposed to do. Obviously stories start coming out once these things happen. He was pulled over before for, kind of driving, 45, going 89 and a 45, okay, that stuff has to be stopped. And hopefully it didn't play the part in the death of the friend, because he's already mourning that and dealing with that, and then to put this on top of that. And I think my main issue is the timing of this. I mean, immediately as soon as I heard it, I know I talked to you about it, I'm thinking Laramie Tunsil. Guy was, almost a number one pick, and then the whole gas mask and the smoke and all that stuff came out, and then he dropped all the way to 13 and got picked up by Miami. And it's just like, come on now, what's going on? Because there's been no character issues at all.
He's been just stand out like class act guy the entire time. And I think Laramie wishes that his issue came out around the combine and not on draft night. I think that killed Laramie Tunsil. And that's just it. Like, when you've got that amount of talent sitting there, some team's gonna, even if it comes out that he actually did play a big factor in this and was a leading factor in it, a team's gonna take a chance on the character with all that talent there. It happens time and time again. Yep. And I don't think he hasn't shown me anything that he's a bad guy. Yep. I think this was just two young men that won a second national title and were just kind of feeling themselves a little too much and made a mistake. And unfortunately it cost two people their lives. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, hey, all prayers out to him, all prayers out to that whole situation, that it just gets taken care of and handled. He is back at the combine. Yeah. So that is, that's good news in the situation. And I don't think, I heard before that he was not going to participate. Is he going to? No, or? He's only there for interviews. He's not doing any of the on-field stuff. And at this point, why would he? He's the number one player in the draft. Where he goes in the draft is just based on pretty much when Chicago picks, as far as I'm concerned. But he's gonna have to face the fire. He's gonna have to answer all the tough questions, and he shouldn't have a problem.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, hey, we'll see how this plays out, but that is definitely breaking news. That's on the headlines on all the new media stations. But like we said, he's back at the NFL Combine. Hey, we're at the Combine, Alex. We're here. I mean, it feels like just yesterday, Georgia was eating frog legs on the daggone sidelines. Destroying TCU in the national championship. We're here. We're right in between that and the spring games, which is right in front of us. This is for us that really like to dive into this and comb through. This is the good part. This is the fun, because you start picking out each individual player, how you feel about this guy that I've been watching for these years. I love this time, Alec. I know you're with me on this.
Oh yeah. Well, and as a guy that loves doing all the mock drafts and everything too, this is, by the end of the combine and the end of these interviews, these teams are 85% sold. Oh yeah. This is basically, okay, we can knock these guys off our boards. We have these players available, and then it's okay from there. Where do we want to go? This is the most important part of the off season for these college kids. Oh yeah. The main thing is it's a week long. That's the big thing for me. We saw some of the big boys go today, and then you'll get the offensive side of those guys. You'll get running backs, quarterbacks. And all the fine details too. That's my favorite part, is watching, for example, the offensive line drills. Bench press 40, all that. Cool. I watch the footwork, the if they stay low, how their punches, like I watch all that stuff. For me, I could care less about the physical part. Let me see the on-field stuff for all these guys, the corners and how they flip their hips, and receivers and how they break, and quarterbacks and how they time their throws with somebody they're not used to. Like, this is all very important stuff. And I absolutely love watching all this stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. And you're going to see some stars out there. You're going to see some of the top guys. We've talked about it most throughout this year. You know, obviously the Jalen Carters, Williams, some of those guys might not participate, but you got some of the Peter Skoronskis, Keon White, Jordan Addis. Some of those guys are going to be around there, especially for the interviews and also kind of getting into the action. But let's kind of go into it a little bit. Who are you looking for, to see, like something, show me something? Who needs to push, who needs a little bit more tape to push them over the top for you?
To me, it's these quarterbacks that are actually going to sit there and throw. Bryce Young's already said he's not throwing, but you'll get CJ Stroud's in there throwing, Will Levis is throwing, Anthony Richardson is throwing. Even some of the lower guys, the Tanner McKees, Jaron Halls, all those guys. Like, I want to see how you do with guys you're not comfortable with. Because pro day, it's your script, what you feel comfortable with, your routes, your receivers that you've gone to battle for years with. This is all guys trying to make it, so everyone's giving it their all, and I want to see how they react to this situation. To me, I'd say Anthony Richardson the most, just because my thing with him is he didn't really have anybody at Florida this year,
right?
So I want to see him with some top level talent around him at the combine and see how he throws, because he's got the best release in the draft. Yeah. That snap and it's gone. And he's got a rocket arm. So if he has a good combine and throws really well here, he might lock himself in as a top 10 pick.
Yeah. And it could happen. I mean, his star has been rising a lot recently, man. From being an 800-1 odds to win it to being an 80 to win or an 8-1 odds to get to the first. I mean, he's definitely been showing it. Look, he has that star ability. He has. There are certain times in those games. If you watch those games, I remember one where he's scrambling over to the right and he kind of pump fakes like he's going to throw it, and the guy is charging him and stops because he doesn't want to get the roughing the passer, and then he rolls back out and hits the guy in the corner. And
I think that was Utah week 1.
Yeah, I was like, and it was like, wait a minute. But then, people start saying, can he read a defense? He has the ability to take over a ball game. And it is right. You want to see that. I also just want to see guys like Fresno State quarterback, Haener.
Jake Haener, yeah.
Yeah, Jake Haener. He's got
a big sleeper for me.
Right. He's gotten so much attention as of late. We know he's been doing it. He's been doing it all year at Fresno State. So I'm glad he's kind of getting some of that attention. And I'm glad, they're finally looking at him. And as I've talked to you about him since we first started talking, Aiden O'Connell out of Purdue, he is one of those guys that is in my opinion, he was a stud a year ago. He's been a stud all the way throughout his career. His kind of numbers kind of fell off a little bit this past year, but his team struggled. But I love what he brings to the table. So I really want to see how he does. But yeah, those are the kind of the sleeper guys, some of the undercover guys. Any other main positions? I know we're going to talk running back in a minute, but any other positions? Wide receiver, offensive line is always your go-to.
I always watch that one very closely. For me specifically this year, I'm going to watch DBs very closely just because the Lions have a big need at corner. And I think we're going to go there pretty early. So I'm going to watch these top tier guys. How do you move? How do you flip your hips? How do you run with a guy? Like that, all that stuff I'm going to be watching extremely close.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. For me, obviously, we always talk, we go to our position. You were O-line, I'm running back. So obviously, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more today. But for me, it is wide receiver. It is absolutely wide receiver and tight end. So wide receiver, not for the bigger name guys, but for some of these guys like a Josh Downs, for some of the lesser known guys that I want to see if their ability, we've kind of monitored it all year, but I want to see if that, translates into these type of situations like we were talking about. And tight end, I'm speaking, you already know. We need a tight end. Logan Thomas did not come back from that injury too well. And, we got Cole Turner and Reviner last year, and that did not pan out. So that is something that's definitely a position I'm going to keep my eye on. So, but I have to, we're going to take a quick little breather and be right back. And when we come back, we're going to start talking about some of these running backs. Yeah, we got to get into this, man. We'll be right back. Yeah, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Let's Talk Football Ladies Takeover, who just finished their second season. They will be back this fall, giving you all the news and notes, all the influential women in the NFL, the coaches, the referees, anybody that has a part in or even ownership or anything. Definitely stay tuned to that. They do great things. But you are watching Let's Talk College Football. Myself, Sean Spencer, my guy, Mr. Alex Loosemore. Hey, and we are going to try to bring you into this NFL draft. The draft is in April, I believe April 27th through the 29th. So we will definitely be doing something, and we're going to kind of bring you in position by position to see who exactly you should be taking a look at. Obviously, the top guys, but also couple of the other guys. So let's dive right into that, the draft position analysis, and we're gonna go to the top running backs. Alex, I'm coming to you first. Just give me like 5 of the top guys that we need to be looking for, and I mean, kind of in their position where you think they're gonna go in the draft.
Yeah, okay. So I'll go. I think number 5 is gonna be Sean Tucker from Syracuse.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely killed it this year. Was one of the best running backs the last 2 years of college football. He'll slide a little bit just because there's a lot of tread on those tires. He ran quite a bit in college. But anyone that gets him is getting a phenomenal player. I love for the Lions to get him later in the draft if he falls that far. But I don't think he will. I think probably 3rd, 4th round he's gone. Number 4, I'll go Devin Achane from Texas A&M. Absolute burner. Yeah, this guy can house it from anywhere on the field. I can't wait to see if he runs the 40 what it's going to be, because it's probably going to be up there amongst the best this year.
Oh yeah.
Phenomenal speed. Late 2nd, early 3rd round probably is what I'm thinking there. Another guy late 2nd, early 3rd, Zach Charbonnet from UCLA. I know him very well because I watched him his first 2 years at Michigan. But he exploded when he got to UCLA. He was much better there than he was with us. Phenomenal player. He's got the speed, but he's also got that bigger body to kind of bounce guys off. Not elite speed and not elite shiftiness, but he's solid at both. And the first 2 years at Michigan, he didn't have much running, so he doesn't have a lot of tread on the tires. I think he'll go probably late 2nd, early 3rd, and he'll be a very good rotational running back in the NFL. Number 2 is Jahmyr Gibbs for me. Very good player. Could slide into the 1st round, but I think he's gone by pick 40. It's another big body guy, kind of reminiscent of a Derrick Henry. And I mean, he played at Alabama, so that comparison's there. But he's another guy that can house it from anywhere, and it's not because of that speed. It's just because he it's hard to tackle him.
Yeah.
It's very hard to tackle him.
Very good in the open field.
Yeah, phenomenally open field. But my number one player at the running back position, and it's far and away, it's Bijan Robinson.
Absolutely.
I've been saying this to Andrew and some of these other guys that I talk football with. I think there's a fairly realistic scenario where at the end of the 2023 NFL season, Bijan Robinson's the number one running back in the NFL.
Ooh.
He is that good.
Wow.
He reminds me a lot of what Saquon Barkley was doing at Penn State.
Yes.
The ability to catch it out of the backfield, just dangerous in every aspect of the game.
Yes.
If you wanted him to return it, he could, and he'd do phenomenal at it. I think this is far and away the best running back. Probably one of the 10 best players in the overall draft, regardless of position. And whoever gets him is getting a home run player.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. And for the fact that you and I are pretty much on the same page on that, maybe one or two off, I'm not going to need to repeat anything. But, I mean, to your point about Bijan Robinson, it's amazing. I mean, the guy is balanced. I mean, he's an elite pass catcher. He can catch out of the backfield. But then he's also, I mean, between the tackles, oh, my goodness, just a bruiser. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you're sitting here getting him out in the open. And I mean, the field vision, once he gets out there, and I don't know about as much about this, but for him, I must imagine it slows down for him because you watch some of those, namely the one he had against Oklahoma. They're up, 28-17. He runs over to the right. He has an angle, and he's running up the field, and it's just like everything seems to be moving in slow motion for him. He cuts it back, and everybody just right past him. He's getting
the college football video game where they had the Heisman reaction time where you can slow it down. That's what he has. It's just that's what it is.
Yes. NCAA, I think that was
20, I know it was in 14.
No, yeah, it wasn't 14. It was 2013 because it was the one with Barry Sanders and RG3 on the cover.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I have that one and 14. So let's get it. Side note, 14 is going for like $100 and some odd dollars right now.
Oh, I know. Just a few years ago, I was going to get a PS3 just so I could play it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, very costly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's worth it though.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. I'm with Temple, by the way. We'll talk about that later. Look, we are into this, but so yeah, number one, absolutely has to be Bijan Robinson. Number two for me, Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, this guy, elite pass catching ability as well.
Yes.
He also got field vision. I love that he was able to come to Alabama from Georgia Tech, where Georgia Tech is run. You're not gonna see him out in the open field catching the ball. But at Alabama, he was really able to kind of show how elusive he is and how solid he can be, and that definitely moved him up. My guy Sean Tucker is. I mean, that's my heart, man. I've been trying to work with him and call him out for the last several years. He's explosive. He's explosive. Yep. I do worry about, like you said, the tread on those tires because he has been that heart and soul of Syracuse, a solid Syracuse team. I think they started 6-0 this year. What I mean?
And went toe-to-toe with Clemson. Like that was a very good Syracuse football team this year.
Exactly. So, but shout out to him, and that's somebody where I would kind of be like, look, you ship some of my guys out in Washington, and let's pick him up. Let him be the bell cow because he's one of those guys. He's a tough nosed runner. Where I switch up is that I put up Tank Bigsby next.
See, he's my number 6. Yeah.
Yeah, right there it is, and that's where Charbonnet is. He's my number 6.
Yeah.
So I put Tank Bigsby here to showing what he did. 834 yards and 11 touchdowns, but the guy had an average of 6 yards a carry. And I mean, he has that. What I love about him is he's 1 foot go, he's up the field, but then he has that lateral movement, a lateral shift, kind of like a Shady McCoy, where it's kind of like a little jump cut, gets out there and gets up the field. Last year, with everything he had going on in Bo Nix and the absence of Bo Nix and all that crazy stuff, with Bo Nix the year before, where he had over 1,000 yards. I mean, they had a solid two-headed monster. He's had a total of 25 touchdowns in his career. Like, this guy is getting it done. I love Tank Bigsby in that. And then my 5, Devin A-Chain, a burner. Dude,
Yeah.
the guy is 10-1 in the 100-meter dash. Like, he's just straight speed. He's one of those I want to see at the combine to see what his numbers, like you said it. I want to see like what is his numbers, like what is it a 4.2 4.1? Oh, like I want to see that. And hey, most namely, he's remembered from Texas A&M, Alabama. That game he returned I think it was a kickoff all the way right up the field to help defeat them in that game. And hey, I love what he's doing. I love that he's bringing this is the time for the shine, man. This is the time, man. And I'm absolutely ready. But look, we talked about some of these guys, but what are some of your sleepers? What are some of your guys that maybe we don't know about?
To me, the massive one is, and I saw a lot of them on New Year's Eve, is Kendre Miller from TCU.
Oh, yeah.
This guy reminds me so much of Marshawn Lynch. It is scary.
Yeah.
Just massive, just beefy running back. Can move. He's shifty. He'll jump cut you and you'll go flying by. This is a guy you're probably going to get 5th, 6th round, and he's an absolute steal. Like, probably one of the 7, 8 best running backs in college football this past year, I would say. Stats don't show, but just his play on the field is absolutely that. My other big one is Dwayne McBride from UAB. Another very solid player. I didn't know much about him, and then just looking at all these lists and everything, he's up there 6, 7, 8 on a lot of these lists. So I went and watched his tape, and he's good. He's as advertised by some of these guys. Very
second leading rusher in the country.
Yep.
1,700 yards right behind Roberts, for Air Force.
Yep.
No, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I got to go with the guy that you and I have talked about out of Minnesota, Muhammad Ibrahim.
Oh, yeah.
I love that guy. I've always kind of followed him. He was number 3. He had 1,600 yards on the ground. You know what I mean? He's a bruiser, man. And if he can stay healthy, he's one of those guys that you could. I mean, the Earl Campbells, Derrick Henry, those
Jerome
guys are kind of Jerome Bettis. These guys are kind of becoming extinct. It's becoming more of a league where it's a 2-headed monster, somebody that can catch the ball in the backfield. It's not as many, big bruisers that like a Derrick Henry that's just or Jonathan Taylor. It's gonna straight down your throat each and every play. And so you're kind of looking for those other things, man. But man,
I love that pick.
I have to go there. My other guy, where was it?
Christian Okoye, that comment there. Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Chrissy, yes.
Absolutely. Love
Nigerian
me a Christian
nightmare.
Okoye. You know who else I'm looking at? That's what I'm sorry, my list went out. Evan Hall. Evan Hall showed up as of late, and I'm telling you, he's a sneaky. I don't know. I went way back with this one, and it reminds me of a Glenn Milburn, of the Broncos.
Okay.
Kind of he's a little scat back, running back. Maybe put him in a return game. He showed out in the Senior Bowl, and I'm kind of like, okay,
yeah.
I
noticed him a few times at Northwestern.
Right. But see, that's the thing. Unless you're in the Big Ten, unless you're playing him, he's not gonna get all that attention. So, I'm interested to see. You got a number of names on this list. Zach Evans, I know, has been getting a lot of praise. Rashawn Johnson out of Texas.
He's getting a lot lately, Johnson.
And I've watched some of his tape, and I like what he has. He doesn't have elite speed. Vision is good, but I mean, when he puts his foot down, he lowers his shoulders. The guy is a bruiser. He can make moves. What have you seen in him that you think would warrant him to kind of move up?
To me, it's exactly what you just said. That one cut ability to just put your foot down and go. Yep. He's not gonna sit and jump side to side and wait. If there's no hole there, he's gonna go make his own hole. Right. He's gonna plant his foot, go drive his shoulder down, and try and get you as many yards as he can. And to me, he's not a starter running back, but he's your Mark Ingram to the Alvin Kamara. Like, he's that very solid, dynamic power back.
Back to guys that little smaller guys. Deuce Vaughn. Have we not gone into this out of Kansas State?
Oh yeah.
I mean, he showed out this year. He was doing a little bit last year as well. You know, Deuce Vaughn. These are guys that are going to get later in the draft. Might help out a little in special teams, but you give these guys an opportunity in the right system. They could be dangerous.
And especially a guy like Deuce Vaughn. Like you said, this is a guy we've been talking about all season. Like, going into before the season even started, this was a guy that was on our radars, and he proved us right with that.
Mm-hmm.
He balled out, Kansas State was a very, very good football team, and he was a massive part of that on the offensive side of the ball.
Exactly. Now, I wonder, some of these guys, looking through a list there, Chris Rodriguez out of Kentucky.
Yeah,
obviously he was out the first 4 weeks. He didn't wow you for the rest of the season. Obviously, all the spotlight was on the quarterback, Will Levis. What did you think of him? What do you think? What are you looking for from him going forward?
To me, he's a tough one, because for both him and Levis, I would say go back and watch the 2021 tape, not the 2022 tape.
Yeah,
because that offensive line this year was bad, and that's the thing, is the offense was better without Rodriguez, because Rodriguez needs to play behind at least a good offensive line where those holes are there and he doesn't have to figure it out on his own.
Right.
He's not the guy that's gonna figure it out and make a 5-yard loss a 10-yard gain. He's not that guy.
Right.
So if you've got, for example, a Philadelphia who could use a running back, San Francisco, Detroit, Indianapolis, they figure their left tackle out. Like, these teams with good offensive lines, he would be a very good rotational player there. He's one of these guys you're not going to start him. He's not a starting running back in the NFL, but he's a solid rotational guy again.
Yeah, absolutely. Another name that you and I have brought up before, is very close to home in the Carolinas, out of ECU, Keaton Mitchell. He had 1,400 yards, 14 touchdowns, averaged about 7 yards a carry. Obviously, not a lot of eyes on him, being that he was at Eastern Carolina, but he was a force. A number of games he had 4 touchdown, ball games where, and as usual, my guy went silent. But look, Keaton Mitchell, honestly, I think he can truly contribute to a team that's not only a running back that can run between tackles, but also is definitely
it just all of a sudden it was like something went wrong, and I hit
right
away. I was just like, I have no idea what happened there, but
hey, had to happen once a game. I'm good with that, man.
Oh
yeah. So, but yeah, Keaton Mitchell out of Eastern Carolina. I'm really eager to see what he does in the combine, and he's a dual threat. He is exceptionally well in the pass game, and he can definitely run up between the tackles. So I want to see what he brings to the table. Oh man. So yeah, those are our. Do you have any other sleeper backs here?
To me, the one I'll say is Kenny McIntosh out of Georgia.
Right.
Is another one of these solid Georgia running backs where they rotated guy after guy after guy, and they're all very, very good. I mean, that's what happens when you recruit 5-star after 5-star. Right. But it's a guy that hasn't had to run the ball very much. So his legs are still pretty fresh. And he's another one of those kind of, I wouldn't quite call him a bruiser. I'd call him more, he's a very physical back. Yeah. He's not afraid to shy, or he won't shy away from contact. He's not afraid to go in between the tackles, lower his shoulder, and get you that first down. And he's a guy that, since he hasn't played much, there's not too much tape on him, probably going to go round 5, 6, 7, might even slide into the undrafted category, but it's another very good running back that you could steal late.
Exactly. Exactly. And Georgia, I mean, you talk about running back I mean, they're pulling out running backs left and right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you look at James Cook from a year ago, who he started to show up late in the season for Buffalo and help them along when they really needed him. So, yeah, watch out for McIntyre and to see what he brings to the table. But yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of guys. Eric Gray, Oklahoma. McIntyre, Heaton Mitchell, Troy Evans out of Louisville, Travis Dye. I want to see.
Yes.
He had the injury issue early, late in the season. So hopefully, we get to see something. Even if we don't get to see, hopefully he gets on a team because the combine is interesting. So I want to quickly go to this before we're to go to our teams. But so there is certain people that have an issue with the combine. They're kind of like some of these drills. Is it necessary? What does this show? Everything. And the reason I say that is I go back to your guy, David Ajabu, last year, obviously having the horrific injury at the combine. What do you think about people that say like that kind of comment?
It's tough because in the case of Ojabo, you know that he's going to be a guy that puts his hand in the dirt and goes right after the passer. Mm-hmm. So to see him drop in coverage is a little unnecessary. Now you could also make the argument there's defenses that run that zone blitz where you've got anyone can drop into zone. They have nose tackles drop into zone. Like it's just so if you're one of those teams, then I could understand why you want certain players like that to do those things. What I would say is every drill has its purpose. Mm-hmm. There's always something for a coach to take away from any drill for any of these players, whether it's footwork, hands. It could even be something as far as your mentality, how you attack that drill. It could be a meaningless drill, but if you go give it your all and there's some guy that's just dogging it because, well, this doesn't matter, it doesn't mean anything, you're going to fly up draft boards for that. So, and you're not going to change it. And that's just it there. It's about that willingness to take the extra step and train just to prove a point. Right. Bijan Robinson, I saw something from him and I applauded him on it. We said he's far and away the number one running back. Mm-hmm. He came and said that he's doing all the drills in the combine because he wants to compete.
Yeah.
That to me was just like, okay, you're like immediately one of my favorite players in this draft class.
Okay. Absolutely.
It's not about who's the fastest, who sure having the footwork or the nice throws helps, but it's the fact that you're there and you're trying.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I love that. Yeah. Hey, and and it's also, it gets you those extra eyes, and it's also the interviews. It's also talking to the people, getting that opportunity to be in front of as many faces, because not all these guys are going to go first round. Not all these guys are going to go top 3 or 4. Some of these guys are going to go later in, and you still want to have as many interviews as possible to let people know where you stand, what's your resume. It's a networking thing for them. So, hey, best of luck to all of these guys out here getting it done. We're going to give you one more quick little breather with all the shows that we have in the Let's Talk Football community, and then we're going to dive into our teams. The teams that we represent, Tar Heel Nation. Let's get it done. You see Mr. Mason Blue over here. But we're going to dive into us and see kind of where we're going. So we'll be right back. Yeah, buddy, that was Let's Talk Football Sunday, the game day preview that we were doing in the beginning of this year. We might bring it back next year. Myself, Nicholas Rosario, Nathan Snell, and our junior reporter, Mr. Dylan Walsh. Yes, sir. So we are back, and we're going to dive into the things we love the best, ladies and gentlemen, our teams, where we ended up in the season, where we're going this next season, who's staying, who might have already left, all those coaches that left.
Yeah.
But hey, we have happy hopes. We have hopes for better things. But I'll start first. Obviously, my Tar Heels went 9-5. We lost the last 4 games. We rough losses and culminating in a loss in the ACC championship to Clemson that was not pretty, and then a last-second loss to our buddy Alec Schomburg's Oregon Ducks, 28-27 in the Holiday Bowl. Yes, it was great back and forth. Hey, we have a great coach. He's second among active coaches. Our guy, Mr. Mac Brown, with 268 victories, only guy better than him, obviously, is Mr. Saban. But hey, I love what he does because he's an older guy, but he's personable. He's he's young at heart. He gets close to every one of his players, and he really kind of brings the best out of them. He has guys, ex-coaches, Gene Chizik on his staff that's the assistant head coach, and he works with the defense. Obviously, we lost Phil Longo. We lost Jack Bicknell, our online coach. Phil Longo was our OC. Both of them went over to Wisconsin. It's going to be a dangerous team working with Luke Fickell. We got Chip Lindsey. He's a 26-year vet. He was most recently with Central Florida, and he worked over with John Rice Publicly. And we talked about him many a times. I mean, that dual threat ability. And then our new online coach is Randy Clements, and he's been working 20 years with the O-line. He said last year, I believe he was at North Texas. And North Texas was, I believe, like 24th nationally and with about 200 yards a game on the ground. So we're returning Caleb Hood and Petaway, some of our top running backs. That will definitely help. Obviously, our guy Drake May he's back. He's back on here, and so I'm eager to see kind of what the new OC and the new O-line coach and how these guys kind of implement themselves into the offense and just get Drake May back out there, man. I mean, hey, Sam Howell had a great first year. His second year was great. Then obviously all his guys left, and his third year was kind of a struggle. But Drake May, he was a great last year. We went 8-1, 6-0 on the road. At the same time, once all the lights came on us, we kind of dropped the ball. So I'm eager to see kind of what happens with him in the next coming year. He's returning Andre Green, one of his receivers that had a subpar year, obviously in the shadow of Josh Downs. Another guy I'm looking at. Another guy I'm looking at in the combine, man. I think Josh Downs honestly has the potential to be kind of one of the best slot receivers coming out of this draft. I honestly think he could, I mean, his speed and his maneuverability, and he's a smaller guy, so he's low to the ground. I'm loving what he brings to the table. But I think, in my opinion, the biggest loss, Dre Bly. I loved this guy from his playing days.
Sorry.
I loved it. I know it. I know. I'm glad he went to you, but I'm like, Dre. I've always loved him. He went over and played for the Rams, got a Super Bowl title with them. He was. I remember when I went to North Carolina when I was younger, when I was like 14, 15, when I still thought, I'm going to go to North Carolina. You got to have like a 4.5 or 4.6 GPA. I was like, my 2.7 wasn't making it to North Carolina. But me and my dad took me on the field on Kenan Memorial Stadium, and I walked on the grass and I, saw some of the players and, Dre Bly, some of those guys I saw. And I remember he was the first guy where I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to get a North Carolina jersey. Dre Bly is my guy. And I loved him. I followed him through the league, and I love that he came back. But, hey, happy trails to you. Will be missed. He absolutely will be missed. So, what's going on, Johnny? Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. What? He said Vandy starts 6-0 and ends up 7-5 in the bowl game. I really like our schedule shapes up. Okay, we'll see. Because said Clark, I laughed at the preseason statement.
Yeah. He's turning it around at Vandy there.
He is.
It's going to be interesting to see how they do this year.
Yeah. Here we go. And what's going on, Ben? Last name ever, first name. Yes, sir. I love it.
Man,
let's get it.
He's easily a top 5 quarterback going into this next season.
Yeah.
Like that gives you every chance in the world this next season. Like
the ceiling is high, man, and honestly, his trajectory is that same altitude. He's going up, and I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. But it's just, I mean, there's only one way to go, but it's kind of like that's the first season he's had to set the bar so high. So It's kind of like, all right, where are we going from here? And there's so many other factors, but I'm glad. I kind of like with the Washington. I'm glad that we got our OC and our line coach and all our coaches early. So now we're going into the spring game all on the same page. We've had talks with people. We're kind of on the same page. So, I'm excited to see what happens, but let's take our time. Let's see what happens. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. But look, hey, we saw what was happening in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Now I'm going to send this to Ann Arbor, Michigan. My guy, Mr. Alex Loosemore. Talk about your boys.
Yeah, so I mean, we fell short in the playoff semifinal there against TCU, and one of the better games. I'd say probably one of the top 5 games of the season, just with how back and forth and everything it was. Again, if we don't spot them 14 points in the first 5 minutes, we don't throw ourselves into that big a hole. But the majority of the key players are returning. Ronnie Bell couldn't return, so he's going to the draft. But we got Blake Corum back. JJ's back. Donovan Edwards is back. Cornelius Johnson came back. We got Will Johnson still playing corner going into his true sophomore season. We got Mike Morris is gone. Junior Colson's back. We did lose DJ Turner. That's a big loss on that other corner. We transferred over Amorian Smith from wide receiver to corner. So now we've got 2 6'3", 6'4" corners, a 6'2" safety. Like our defensive backfield is gigantic. It is. Most of our offensive line came back, and then we poached another 3 starters in the transfer portal from Stanford, Arizona State, and I can't remember the other school, but we got 3 very good players. Now he's going into his true sophomore season, Ernest Hausman, a linebacker from Nebraska, I believe. He's going to come in with Colson and be a very good linebacking duo there. Mason Graham in the middle of that defense is going to be awesome. I saw that comment, Chris. I hope Cade does well. I really do. I always like Cade, and I don't think Iowa was the best fit for him, but I hope they do really well. I'd love to see them in the Big Ten championship if we make it there.
He's easily probably the best quarterback they've had in a while.
In a very long time. And he's got Eric All there with him, that connection there. The Big Ten scares me this year. It does. Penn State is back to being Penn State. They were a top 10 finish this year. Obviously, Ohio State. We'll see what happens with their quarterback play with Stroud being gone. That's a massive hole to fill. But you still have JT Tuimoloau at defensive end, and a couple of obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. A couple extremely important players are back. So they can have a big year.
Shout out to Marvin Harrison Jr. on the NIL deal, man. Getting it done, man. Getting money. That was an interesting deal. Everybody else does it with, the course. All that stuff.
All that,
I like that because he uses it. He uses it all the time, and he was saying it actually helped my game. I can believe that. You know what I mean?
That reminds me of something like his dad would do if NIL was a thing back then. Like that's a very Marvin Harrison Senior move. Like
exactly.
But yeah, and then with the Big Ten in general, you've got Matt Rule going to Nebraska. We'll see how quick he can turn it around. Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. Braylon Allen, that offensive line they got there. If they can figure out that quarterback, they're a problem like that. If Iowa can figure out how to run an offense, they're a problem immediately.
Yeah.
And it's just like Michigan State. I don't see it being as bad as it was this year.
Yeah. They got to get a quarterback, man.
They desperately need a quarterback. Maryland, we'll see. Like I think they could be scary good again. Another 8, 9, 10 win season. Like the Big Ten, obviously, it's not as loaded as the SEC, whatever, but it's a very good conference with a lot of very good teams.
Right.
That being said, I do still think it comes down to that end of the season matchup with Michigan and Ohio State.
Yeah.
To me, that's still just the two best teams, and whoever wins that will probably win the Big Ten and make the playoffs.
Oh yeah. So a lot of what we saw last year.
Yeah.
Bringing it right
pretty
back.
much, yeah.
Yeah. Bringing it right back.
I just saw Ben's comment there. What's the score? They're playing Illinois here in basketball, and it was 41-41 at the half, I believe. 52-45 Illinois with 12 minutes left.
Ooh,
dicey.
Here we go.
I do agree with Ben, though. I think if they lose this, they might fall just short, unless they get a huge Big Ten tournament appearance there. If they do really well in that.
That's where we're at.
Ohio State, I see at worst 3 losses. They do play a very tough schedule. Yeah, they still have all the running backs. Now, like that quarterback is a massive hole. They're losing both tackles. So they are missing. They're gonna have to fill a few holes with a few key holes. But there's just so many pieces still there. The only reason I say at most 3 losses is Penn State and Michigan. Both those games can go either way, and then you do play Notre Dame, who has Sam Hartman playing quarterback for them this year, so they have a legit quarterback. And I believe it's in South Bend. So that's going to be a very tough game. And to me, it's 3 games that could go either way. I could see them going undefeated into the playoff, and I could see them having 3 losses and falling just short of a New Year's 6. It's going to be somewhere in the middle of there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we already know half their team is still solid, so.
Oh, yeah. Still one of the best rosters from top to bottom in the nation. No doubt.
Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are nearing the end of the show, but as you know, we always finish off by doing the one thing we love, and that's going for 2. Yes, sir. Hey, we're going to go for 2 and then send you right out of here. I'll go first. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to go off and do something new. Go off and try something new. Go dive into something, like we dive into this stuff. You know what I mean? My guy just started his new show, Restoring the Roar. And let me tell you something, man. You looked right at home, brother. You looked right at home. And I loved it.
Had a lot of fun with it.
See, that's what's up. And hey, do something new, man. Do something that you might not have done before. Go out there, try something, focus in on something, and learn everything about it. My granddad always used to say to me, you learn everything about anything, and then you always know something. You know what I mean? Always dive into it. So do something, man. Keep paying attention, dive into, dig in, learn your history, learn the future, learn whatever, man. Do your thing. Do something. Alex, what you got, man?
Mine kind of falls right in line with that. It kind of goes along with me starting my Lion show there. It's if you've been going back and forth on whether or not to do something, just go for it. Just dive in, do it, give it your all, and see how it goes. It might work out, it might not, but at least you tried.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm too old for it. Got to go for 3. This is not the XFL, Johnny.
Yeah, we're still in college football here.
Right. Yo, so ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you being here with us. We will be back. Most likely on our normal day, Saturday, but we'll see what the timing
That's
looks
the
like.
plan.
Yeah. The plan is Saturday. So we will definitely be back to talk all of this football. Next week, we'll bring to you our quarterbacks, then obviously wide receivers, and saving the best for last, my guy and his O-lineman, seeing who he thinks is going and going where. But definitely tune in to all of that, and we appreciate you. But do everything you can. You only live once. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And then Ben with his college basketball gimmick still.
Oh yeah. Hey, check out our guy Ben Cornett, the 2-3 Benzo, man.
Yes,
he kills
sir.
it. I was on there a little bit ago. Absolutely. So, hey, we appreciate you being with us. This is Let's Talk College Football. I'm Sean Spencer. That's my guy, Mr. Alex Loosemore. And we will see you later. Peace, guys. Take care. Oh, NFL edition coming up in like 30 minutes. Check it out. Peace, guys.